Welcome. My name is Kamini Desai. I've spent the last 25 years working with all kinds of people from all walks of life, helping them learn how to manage the inner dimension of life. We have stresses and anxieties that keep us from really optimally working in the workplace. We have colleagues that stress us out. We have the need to pay bills or keep a job. These are all things that keep us from accessing the peace that's available at any moment in our lives. This video series is very specifically designed to help you learn very specific tools based on yoga and its sister science, Yoga Nidra, to help you break that momentum of stress, break that momentum of worry, and learn how to come back to a peaceful, quiet, still place in the midst of our busy lives. Today, we're going to start with learning about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. These two parts of your nervous system are what help you get into fight or flight, the sympathetic system, and the parasympathetic system is what helps you relax and release. The thing that most of us don't realize is that we are in sympathetic most of the time. We are in fight or flight, doing something most of the time. Over time, what this creates is an imbalance. So think about you when you're going to work. And you wake up in the morning, and let's say that this is you, relaxed. And then you go to work, and your car won't start, a little bit of stress. And then you get to work and you find out that your computer has crashed, a little bit more stressed. And then now after your computer's crashed, you find out that you have to give a presentation to a very big client in 20 minutes, a little more stress. By the end of the day, this is you. And what you find is that very often, even though you go to sleep, your body will relax a little bit, but not completely. And we get up and we do it all over again, tensing, and just relaxing a little bit. The end result is that we end up being what is called sympathetic dominant. We have much more tension in the body than what the body could ever hope to balance. What we need to do is we need to balance out the amount of tension in the body that's created by the sympathetic nervous system and balance it out with the parasympathetic nervous system, or the relaxation response. Okay. So this concept of sympathetic and parasympathetic actually completely overlaps with an Indian or a yogic concept of EDA and Pingala. So what the yogis believe is that there are two major nerve currents that run through the body, and that these nerve currents act as a positive and negative pole. Think of a battery. A battery has a positive pole and a negative pole. And if that one is out of balance with the other, can you see how the battery won't work so well? So what we want to do with this practice is we need to learn how to balance these two out. And what the yogis actually believed was that the imbalance in these poles were the basis of most disease that the body-mind experiences, not just at the physical level, but the mental and emotional level as well, like anxiety. Okay. So let's have a look at this for a moment. EDA has to do with the cooling, calming, relaxation response in your body. It's the negative pole of your body. Not negative as in bad, but just the negative pole. And then we have Pingala, which is your action. It's your doing. It's making things happen. It's the will. And if you think about it, most of us are on which side? On this side, right? We're much more doing and we're much less being. And this creates an imbalance that can eventually result in dis-ease. Let's look at some of the things that can actually create. Let's look at some of the things that happen when these two are out of balance, EDA and Pingala, or sympathetic and parasympathetic. First of all, the list of what's related to the imbalance of tension and relaxation or stress is long. It's much longer than what I have on here. And I'm going to sum it all up by letting you know that the Center for Disease Control estimates that 80% of doctors' visits are now stress-related. So things that range from skin disorders, fertility issues, digestive issues and allergies, heart disease, chronic muscle tension, migraines and tension headaches, lowered immune response, diabetes, pain and fatigue, certain kinds of cancers that get exposed in the presence of ongoing stress hormones. PMS can be related to stress and high blood pressure, and the list goes on and on and on. Now I want you to have a look at this list and see if there's anything on here that you see relating to you. I'm going to bet that there's at least one. Right? And most of us will try to deal with these symptoms of overstress by dealing with the one thing. The problem is that even if you deal with, let's say, migraines and tension headaches, you've dealt with the symptom, but you haven't dealt with the cause, which is too much sympathetic dominance in the body, too much tension in the body. So what we want to do first and foremost through this series is start to rebalance the system. We want to get you to the place where your EDA and Pingala, or your sympathetic and parasympathetic, are operating in a harmonious unity. One of the unique things I'll mention about the Amrit method of yoga is that we always do a doing part of the pose, and we always balance it by being. We always balance it by doing nothing. Because for most of us, we're so busy doing a bunch of stuff, we never take the time to stop and feel the effect of what it is that we do. We're constantly doing and we're not being. And this is what creates this imbalance in life. The one thing that I'll mention to you is if you look at this symbol, and if I were to add one thing to it, I want you to look at what this looks like to you. Does anybody recognize this? It's called the caduceus in the West. It's the symbol for health in the West. In yoga, it's the symbol for your energy system. Both of them point to the same thing, that when your energy system or your nervous system is in balance and harmony, you will be moving towards a state of health. And when it's out of harmony, you will be moving away from a state of health. What we want to help create for you is optimal health, vitality that will eventually serve as a stepping stone to your own personal evolution. So what I'm going to share with you today is a very simple technique. This technique is called the Anulom Vilom breath. And I want you to follow along with the logic with me for a moment. Can you see that the problem of all these issues that we're talking about, all of this is caused by the imbalance of these two? And can you see that if we were to rebalance these two, it kind of follows logically that we would be preventing, perhaps even reversing a lot of these at the root? Just kind of makes sense, right? So what this Anulom Vilom technique does, it's quite brilliant actually, is it helps you use your breath to rebalance these two aspects of your nervous system. The parasympathetic, or the EDA side of your body, is your right side of your body, The EDA side of your body is the left nostril. It corresponds to the left nostril. So first of all, look at how these energy things come together, and they actually come together at the third eye, which you've probably heard a lot about the third eye. So when these two come together, think of the right nostril, which is your Pingala side, relating to your left brain, okay? And your EDA side, which is your left nostril, relates to the right brain. When we are out of balance, we're primarily left-brained. We're in a sympathetic response. And what we want to do is create a sympathetic parasympathetic balance, EDA Pingala balance, but also a right brain, left brain balance. We want to become whole by balancing the two parts. Just like a battery will operate as one whole when the two poles operate as one thing. So the way that we do this technique is we balance the right and left halves of the brain by breathing equally through both nostrils. When we are out of balance, we will primarily breathe through one nostril or the other, usually through the right nostril, because we are left brain dominant. So to reestablish balance, we will breathe equally through both nostrils, creating a state where your battery is working in complete harmony, helping you move towards that state of health. All right? So we're all going to try this together. It feels a little bit strange at the beginning, but do follow along. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the palm of your hand and face the palm of the hand towards you. Make your hands into a fist and then poke out the last two fingers and your thumb. And now you have a nasal operating device, right, to help manipulate the nostrils. And what you're going to do is you're going to use the last two fingers to close off this side of the nostril, which is my left nostril. You'll inhale through the right, hold the breath, and exhale through the left. Inhale through the left, hold the breath, and exhale through the right. Continue on your own. Do not try to force or to hold the breath. There should not be any strain. Keep breathing, inhaling, hold, and exhale. There's no effort to hold the breath. We'll do one more round. And then complete by exhaling through the left nostril. Bring your arms at your sides. Simply close your eyes and we'll enter into what we call the second half, the being side of the pose, the breathing technique. And just simply observe the subtle impact of the breath on your body, beginning to drop you down from thinking to feeling. Just simply allowing the mind to dissolve into the subtle effect of the breath. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes. This is a technique that you can use at any time to balance the left and right brain. If you feel that you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off and you need a little bit of balance in your life, maybe shut the door to your office or go into the bathroom and do a few rounds of this. Do a full minute at least. When you do this technique, you want to be sure not to be straining to hold the breath. A traditional Anulom Vilom will have ratios, and this variation I taught you is called Nadi Shodhana, which does not have ratios. And you want to do this kind without trying to hold the breath so that there's no effort or strain as you're doing this. I'm going to give you this assignment to practice this technique until the next time that we meet so that you can see for yourself the benefits that you can get. As you practice this, leave your comments below. Let us know how the practice is going for you and also ask any questions. We want to see what's happening for you and we want you to notice the changes that are happening in your life. The last thing that I will add is that if you have a hard time falling asleep or if you feel agitated, if you feel anxious or angry, try using this technique instead of dumping your anger on somebody else or turning it in on yourself. That's it for today's lesson. I'll see you next time.